Hello everyone, hope you're doing well today. I'm back again with another video here for you. So I wanted to talk a little bit more on the mindset side of things. So while I'm going through that, I'll be hitting roughly about a 43-yard shot. So the first thing that I wanted to touch on is confidence and consistency doesn't come when you're hitting it perfect. It actually comes when you keep showing up when it's not. You can see a perfect example of that. The best players in the world, if you've been watching the Open this week at Royal Portrush, obviously when they are in trouble, you have to be as mentally tough, as strong mentally as your game is, especially over there, right? So one thing that I really want to touch on is the fact that golf is not a game of perfect. If the 156 players, I believe, who are playing in that event this week thought that, I promise they would really be struggling to break 80. It shows it's a very big mindset component. So I'll hit one here. I have about 43 yards. I would like to call this like a relaxed range session. Little wedge works, if you want to call it. I just want to give myself a good sense of feel. Maybe even work in some different shots I don't use as often. Low cut. Try to increase the spin. Maybe pretend I'm landing it over a lip, something that I have to have a steeper descent angle with. So hitting one here, just a stock shot, 48 yards, 43 actually. Let's see. Landed about pin high. The ground is a little firm here, so it took a pretty hard hop forward. Still not too far past, I'll take it. Another thing that I want to touch on is chasing perfection is usually the issue itself that's holding you back from having consistency. Everybody says, I want consistency, I'm inconsistent. It's usually because you're expecting a result that is most likely not going to happen unless on that perfect day. And again, that's whether you're Tiger Woods or you're an everyday golfer, you're going to have maybe one day where everything's just firing, but typically that's not how we're going to play, right? So what we want to do is focus on what we can control and then hit some shots here. As I said in the previous video, the mindset wall that I broke was when I realized my swing might look, end quote, funky or not functional, but I have a good enough understanding of my tendencies and can at least control my mind and make the best of it. And if you have a combination of those two factors, most likely you're going to play at least as good as you could that particular day. Now everyone has their off days. So again, I'll hit another one. First couple were a little right, but distance was good. Just going to open up a little more. I don't want to overthink things. I've got a good sense of feel in terms of distance. I just want to adjust my direction if I want to nitpick things. All right, a little better. Still a little right, but can't complain. So this next touch point, it's nothing that I've invented myself. It's just simply what's proven to work for the best players in the world, what's been repeated time and time again. And what that is we want to be focused on the performance aspect of our game, not the outcome. If we have the right mindset, we're focused on the performance, we, in theory, should get the best result possible, depending on where our game is at. So instead of thinking, I have 43 yards, I've been chunking my wedges, there's a bunker in the front, and I'm not good with bunker shots, I just hit a perfect drive. I can't waste it. Have to hit this close. Stress is high. You know your friends are watching. First good drive you've hit all day. You can't waste it. And here we go. All right. So that one was okay. But let's say you hit it in the bunker. Let's say that you fell for the trap that you set up for yourself. And instead of pointing the finger at what you did before the shot, you pointed the finger at your swing itself. That goes back to what I said earlier. Most players are much better than they think they are, and much better than what their game shows, for reasons just like this. So I'll do the exact same thing, but I would do this how I would do it and how I'd expect any of the best players in the world to do it. And keep in mind there are variances to this. But the variances are what works best in terms of timing, rhythm. You may see some players, Keegan Bradley has a bit of a club twirl and a waggle. You see some people take longer, some people are much quicker. I'll just show you the way I would do it, and then make sure you find whatever system and pre-shot routine that you need to do, and then make sure you replicate that every time. So I walk up. I like to rehearse it a little bit. Sometimes I'll step back if I want to get a sense of the lie. I know that the ball is above my feet here. That's why I wanted to get at this angle. Choke up a little more and get that feeling. So when I come back here, I can look at it, see my target line. I've picked something about 8 feet in front. Again, especially on shorter shots, sometimes longer as well. I tend to close my feet off more than I'd like. So when I make sure, keep myself open, shut that part of my brain off where it's spiraling and thinking about outcome. I got the number, I got the feel, locked into the target, full commitment. Yep. It's the best one yet. So to sum this part up, confidence comes from committing to the process, not trying to control the outcome. So I really want you to focus, whether you're on the range, whether you're hitting balls in a simulator, maybe you're even at a golf galaxy and you're just putting on the mat. Doesn't matter. I want you to have the same mindset regardless. Commit, visualize, give yourself the mental freedom, the ability to pull off the shot and execute it the way that you intend. Give it a try here. That might hit the post. There we go. A little hot, but not bad. The key point I want to make here is the routine that you make before, during, and after every single shot is going to have an effect on the outcome, regardless if it's good or bad. That is extremely important, because not only does that mean there's probably a lot of areas where we're going wayward, where we shouldn't. There's a lot of things we can do that's very simple and very easy to fix that quickly. So doing stuff just like this, I'm no longer on the range, I just hit a perfect drive. I'm not thinking about, oh, I've been missing fairways, I gotta take advantage of the one fairway I hit. Nope, one shot at a time. Let the course come to me, play it as it intends. Don't force it. Refuse to play hero golf. I'm gonna hit another one here. There we go. It's about a foot. So make sure you have a routine. Make sure you stick to it. And if it just doesn't feel right and it's not comfortable, change it. Try it out. But if the way that you step into the ball and align yourself, paired with a certain timing, a certain rhythm, and a couple swing feels that work against your common tendencies, I would really stick to that and commit to it, and then build from there. So I'll hit one more here. That last one was really good, so I'd have to hit the post to beat it. At 43 yards, keeping that mindset. Let's say we're on the next hole and I hit it to 1 foot. I'm not expecting to hit it to 1 foot again. This is a completely different shot and a different outcome as well. Again, into the grain a bit here. You can tell by the divots, but it's about 5 feet past right on line, so that's not a bad shot at all. So a mental mistake I see quite a bit is golfers, they believe that they spiral during a round, because let's be honest, we've all been there where even if we don't feel like we have the best game at the time, that we had some good stretch in there. Maybe it was 2 holes, maybe it was 6, maybe it was a 9-hole stretch, maybe the back 9 was good, the front wasn't, maybe the front was, you know, that happens very often. It happened to myself. It was very frustrating when I'd have over a 10-stroke difference between 9 holes and couldn't really determine what I needed to shift to make sure I played my best golf possible all 18 holes. So again, I want to remind you, you don't spiral in the course solely from mechanics and bad shots. It's because of your response to those bad shots. And not only bad shots, good shots. If you go back and watch Scotty Scheffler, I've lost count how many wins he's had now over the last 24 months, not counting the earnings and high finishes. Take a look at the difference between his bad shots and his good shots. His response is nearly identical. And to use him as an example, his extremes are not very far apart. Now, you may not find this the case with a lot of players. For example, Taro Hatton, he's pretty fun to watch. He can get, as they would say on TV, a bit feisty on the course. He can get a little angry. For him, he said that just helps. And I don't believe that he would benefit from taming down, although it may help. But for the average golfer, Scotty Scheffler, world #1, being a perfect example. He knows that one perfect shot and one terrible shot doesn't define the entire round or tournament. So taking that mindset to this shot, I should know, okay, I have 18 holes, I have 36, I have 54, I have 72. Good or bad, I'm going to make the best of this shot, this hole, and then we're going to advance, rinse and repeat. All right, pretty good. Again, it's landing a bit firm. It's pretty dry at the moment. If it was a normal green, would have taken a softer hit. What I want to finish this point with is the majority of bad shots come from indecision and not poor mechanics or a bad swing. And you may think, okay, well then, what about my slice or my hook or my chunk or my thin? Well, yes, that can be addressed, and of course it needs to be. But what if that happened because of the way you were thinking, and if you just walked up to the ball, gave it the best attempt you had, and instead of having that chunk and thin in the back of your mind, instead you're imagining what that ball looks like, the trajectory and the landing angle, where you want to leave your putt, the feeling of a good swing. Don't give your mind any memory of a bad swing, bad shot, especially if doesn't matter if it was during the current round or years prior. So I'll go ahead and hit another one. Tried to roll that one up there a little more. So you notice there's a bit of a slope. I like to practice like this to make it more of an on-course situation. Obviously, we never really have a dead flat green or a dead flat shot, so This shot particularly is 43 yards and a little uphill, so not a bad one to practice. Specifically from this location, I'd be working on more of a mid-level spin shot with a mid-level trajectory, meaning it's not a flop shot and it's not a low pitch, a low chip. Just kind of gonna imagine the way that ball is gonna travel, the speed of it. I think that's extremely important, especially with putting, if you visualize the speed of the golf ball. Obviously, the ball is never going to travel very fast from this short of a distance. So we'll hit another one here. Pretty good. Shut the face down a bit on that one, but if we want to be picky, that's about it. It's perfectly pin high and about 4 feet, 5 feet left. So that's exactly how I would have my post-shot routine would be. What went right, what went wrong, we're done. It's on to the next one, right? So same thing. And I want every single shot you take to be just like this. And you'll be surprised when your tendencies start to disappear or decrease quite a bit just from the way that you mentally approach your game. Okay, so what do you need to achieve this? I really want you to prioritize simple tracking methods. And again, this is always going to be personal to the player because everyone has specific things that they need to work on. And sometimes people like to keep more stats than others, which is perfectly fine. Matthew Fitzpatrick is a perfect example. He's supposedly tracked every shot he's pretty much ever hit since he was a junior golfer. And there's others who just keep it really, really simple. And they only look at the stats that the tour tracks for themselves, or if they're not on the PGA Tour, then very simple stats, a box of scorecards. Simple way that I like to do it is if you have the box where you fill in the score, make the top left corner, writing a small number, just put how many strokes it took to get on the green, and then just write how many putts. And then if you had any penalty shots, that can be the third column on the top. And then just put the total score and the bigger part on the bottom. And that way, you can tally up how many greens did I hit, how many putts did I have very quickly. And then if driving is something that you're focusing on a little more below that, you can just write fairways hit and write arrows in which direction. You can put a check mark if you hit it. You can put left if it's left, right if it's right. Get the idea. And you can even do the same thing for greens as well. If you have a common tendency that you want to track for green missing, if you're really starting to dial in that side of things, you can do that as well. So really make sure you keep track of at least a few things like this. So we have our practice and our on-course mindset, repeating as much as possible. And every single shot, we're demanding that. Keep the same mindset. The intent over fear. The performance over outcome. And then we translate that right to the rest of our game. So confidence in your game is earned, and is earned through reinforcement and rehearsal. So I really want you to keep those two words in mind when you're going out to play, when you're going out to practice. If you're thinking about consistency and confidence, those two words come from rehearsal and repeating what works and getting the best result we can possibly make. So if you train your mind as seriously as you train your game, I can guarantee that you'll see direct results in all aspects, on course, off course. You'll start to enjoy the game more, you'll start to play better, you'll start to understand your game more and enjoy improving. So I want to give you a little insight on how I help people with my precision play system and how I help my students get to the results they want for their game. without frustration, without spending hours on the range, and without a mindset that's going to tear them down and eventually take the fun out of the game. So if you'd like to learn how you can do the same, make sure you hit the link in bio. I have a Calendly link you can fill out. You can book a call and we'll chat and see what works best for you. Look forward to speaking with you, and make sure to subscribe and like this video. You'll see future content, and then other people like you can benefit from it. Thanks and have a good one.